All right, welcome to Two Left Feet, where one of our feet is more left than the other. That would be me. Uh, we generally get together every week for a beer anyway to discuss politics and the world and how shitty things are and how some things are great as well.
And they are shitty.
They are indeed. So I'm William. This is my father, Peter.
Peter.
I would describe myself as a progressive leftist, and he would probably describe himself as
The man in the middle.
the man in the middle.
all,
I
all alone.
I think that's a bit dramatic. Personally, I would say it's more of left of center, even left of typical liberals, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That being said, tonight we're going to take a look at some current news, particularly the election, which we'll start off with. And then we're just gonna see where some of this takes us. And this is gonna be a little rough at first, for sure. We're gonna evolve it and see where it goes. But for now, let's get into it.
God, look at that map. It's all red.
I know.
It's all over. Let's go home.
Well, yeah, gotta love gerrymandering. So let's start off by seeing if we can become experts in polls. Because I'm gonna be real, I think that I might know more about general polls than the average person and how they work. But that being said, it ends up being like just like there's so many numbers, so many different colors, and America's an insane place. So sometimes like logic just doesn't make any sense, like doesn't compute there. So let's see if we can learn how these polls work, and then we'll try to make a prediction on who might win.
Oh,
okay. No pressure.
Where's the music?
Uh, well,
Turning
I turn it off just for now so we could.
Oh, okay.
Brand new NBC News poll, national political correspondent Steve
All right, Steve
Kornacki is here to walk us
the
through all
goat.
of the numbers. Steve, this is the moment.
49-49? What?
What does
Oh,
this
no.
poll show us?
Yeah, I mean, fittingly, isn't it?
Jesus.
At the very end, we find a tie nationally. 49% for Harris, 49% for Trump. Really, that's what we found when we last polled this a couple weeks ago. We go under the hood here and look at some of the other numbers there. There's this question of enthusiasm. A couple notable things here. This is the share of voters who are calling themselves very interested in this election. And you can see it stands at
It's
77%, which is
lower than
down
2020.
from 2020 when we had that historic turnout. Also,
Well,
interestingly
okay,
here,
so
the
I actually know the answer, the reason for that. The reason for that is because
People aren't very interested.
well, uh, uh, people in general, but Americans in particular, have like very short-term memories. And so in 2020, they were coming off the heels of 4 years of Trump. And everyone was like, get this freak out of here. I'm annoyed by him. He makes us look bad. Things have been getting bad, like, et cetera, et cetera. And then now we've had 4 years of Biden. And
So
you
they
know,
want-
nostalgia's kicking in.
They want the
So
monster
they're like,
back.
yeah. They're like, hey, I mean, he gave us Trump bucks, right? Like, he can't be all bad.
He's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
He's good entertainment, you know.
I mean, he is.
He is.
He genuinely is. I
And
wish he just had no power and was just an entertainer.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of my things, that my takes on the whole thing is that really we all just want today entertainment. And that's it. Even politics. everything.
100%.
Everything is just, entertain me. Come on.
Yeah.
Show me.
lower among Hispanic voters and black voters. Typically, you would say that is bad news for Democrats, but
Oh,
this
yeah, that's
year,
also
keep
insane.
in mind, among black voters, that could be very troubling for the Democrats. But among Hispanic voters, the Trump folks are hoping for big strides. They've been seeing that in the polls. If that does not translate into Election Day votes, that could be
So we can take a look at that too, the Hispanic vote. But it is crazy that actually that could be a lot of fun. But it is wild that he's gained in the Hispanic vote. because like his whole thing is like we're gonna deport
We're
the
going to deport
immigrants.
you, yeah.
Um,
And once we deport the illegals, we're going to come after you.
yeah. So there's this fascinating thing that like phenomenon of like older Mexican immigrants being like, oh yeah, no, we're the good hombres that he's talking about. Like we're not the bad ones. Yeah, get the bad ones
Get
out
the
of here,
bad ones
right?
out. Yeah.
And it's wild because like they think they're on the team, but they're not.
Mm.
And there's an
Well,
interesting.
Sorry, but
No,
like,
yeah,
you
go
know,
ahead.
for me, like nobody's on the team. He's on his own team. It's
Well,
a
yeah.
team of one.
Yeah, yeah.
And in the end, it's like, you know, nobody's in the boat.
100%. I just like from the perspective of he's like a older Hispanic voter. That's what I'm describing. But there is an interesting video that I think we should take a look at later, if we go into this, where it's literally about like back when Trump was president, and they deported this like guy who was in America for like I think 20 years or 10 years, built up a strong business like from nothing, and was a beloved member of the community. And then you see these like they interview like all of his friends, like a lot of these like older white guys, and like they're like, yeah, I voted for Trump, but like we wanted the bad ones out of here. He's one of the good ones. And it's like, brother,
Yeah.
what do you?
It's like, well, where's the good bad measure? Like,
Yeah,
you got,
exactly.
Like, okay, you're good.
Why didn't Trump just
You
see that he was
stay.
one of the good ones?
Yeah, we've got a test. It's 100% accurate.
I mean, I think he does say that sometimes, like that there's good and bad, and I think so much of Trump's strength comes from his vibes, and how like Republicans see his vibes, right? Like
Well, okay.
He's a
let's
showman.
go into
He's a
that.
showman.
What are his vibes? He's a showman. yeah.
exactly.
His vibes are shut up and listen to me.
His
Yeah,
vibes for
to
me, his vibes for me are kind of like a grandfather explaining things to his grandchildren, like, oh yes,
Oh,
you
you're
don't even-
gonna be
he's
over
he's
there
a
in the
powerful
corner."
man, a powerful man. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's that guy, right? Like I don't know.
He sounds like he knows what he's doing and he's in control.
Yes,
Right?
but
I don't
it's
think
always
he
been
knows,
talking shit.
He knows
Yeah,
nothing
yeah, yeah.
about what he's doing. He has no idea. He doesn't care.
He's a showboat.
He's a showboat.
And he can put it on like he knows what he's talking
And he puts
about.
on a fabulous show.
It's wild how much he can say without it saying anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look what he learned from Roy Cohen, you know?
Right.
That's all he does.
Was
as
it
far
Roy-
as I'm concerned.
Roy Cohen? Roy Cohen?
Yeah, Roy Cohen,
yeah,
the
yeah,
lawyer
Yeah,
Cohen,
yeah, from the movie.
from New York City,
Yeah.
like who trained him to be an attack dog,
Yeah, like a
like-
sociopath.
a sociopath. It's like his training was like just those three rules, and that's all I ever see with him: attack, attack, attack. Number two, deny, deny, deny.
Yeah, yeah.
And number three, claim victory
No matter what.
whatever happens.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It works.
Which, actually, so, I heard an interesting point about that recently, because, like, that kind of, like, he's already laying the groundwork. I believe today he was, like, he's been laying it for a while, obviously, but, like, to deny the election results.
Mm-hmm.
But that also, so close to voting day, that's a bad move, because it could hinder people actually voting, because if they think like last time, oh, my vote won't even matter, so like what's the point? We can get into a lot of these specifics
But
after.
he doesn't
Let's-
deal in what ifs. He's an attack dog. He just does his thing, and so far he's been applauded for it.
I mean, a lot
by
of
his
it has
team, right. So
I think
does that.
I think a lot of that strategy is backfiring this close to the, because like he's getting criticized for some of this stuff, like he lost like an insane amount of the Puerto Rican vote for that crazy rally.
yeah. Well,
Um,
did he? We don't know. We'll see. Like
I
an
was
insane number of.
We can look at some of that in a minute, but I did earlier today see a video of I forget if it was CNN or whatever, but they were talking about interviewing Puerto Ricans who said like they've never voted in their life, but like after that, it just felt so offensive that they felt like they had to. So we'll see. A lot,
Right.
so much of this is of course, this is all speculation. Um, that's literally the name of the game.
Right.
So we're basically doing educated speculation.
Whenever in my life, one lesson I've learned is whenever in my life I speculate, I'm 99% wrong. You know, and often I am totally convinced that person, like, offended me, you know, and something's gone wrong.
Oh,
Um,
oh.
Totally wrong. I'm absolutely and totally wrong. They were sick, you know, for a week, and that's why they didn't respond. Or so, and all speculation is like that. Anyway,
Well, yeah. I do think we're going on a bit.
Yeah.
But on that note, that's literally Steve Kornacki's job. And yes, speculating is inherently difficult because you're just trying to guess what someone else is going to do based on like stuff, like
Right.
stats, as much stats as you can
right,
get.
right.
Yeah, let's move on.
Trouble for them. Then we come to the issues that voters say that
Oh,
matter
yeah.
most to them
This
and
is
how they
important.
rate the candidates. And I think, again, notably,
Before he moves on, so this is like I guess how important the issues are being taken by the different sides. So abortion is huge, obviously, for liberals or Democrats. Bring the country together. Wait, oh my God.
Inflation and cost of living, bread plus. Oh, that's
Yeah, because because it's once again that goes back to the nostalgia thing. Biden's currently a president and things are shitty, so everyone's like, "Oh, give the other guy. Give it back to the other guy."
But he's the guy who caused it in the first
Exactly.
place.
Yeah, but they don't understand that. Competent and effective? No fucking shot they think he's bigger.
So he's gained 2 points in competence and
In
effectiveness.
terms against her, I'm not exactly sure how to read this.
Harris continues to do best on abortion.
Yeah, okay.
20-point
Wow, that's-
advantage there. Trump continues to do best on inflation, cost of living, and advantage there
His
of 12.
competency
This is something to
higher
watch on
than
election
Kamala?
day because, of
Yeah,
course,
well,
she's
their
actually doing
campaign
better
has
on
been so
abortion
bad.
than
The
A lot of
Trump is
people
doing on
think he's
inflation
in
and
command,
cost of
right?
living. We'll have to see
And
how that pans
he
out with the
is.
voters.
He's in
Absolutely, and we can
command
continue and take
Yeah.
a look here. This other issue we
It
talked
is- it
about
is
in our
also
last
fair.
poll,
She
too,
is
the
pretty
dueling
incompetent,
approval
like-
ratings. This is sort of an
is?
albatross for
I think
Harris here.
so.
Incompetent in what?
She's never shown so throughout her entire campaign, she's been flip-flopping on things. Like back when Biden was running, she was all like,
Trump
"We're anti."
flip-flops all the time whenever
I
he talks about
I
policy.
know.
Right.
You know, I'm still like, I would rather
Yeah.
vote for Kamala
No,
than Trump.
no, I know.
But we just need to call them out for what they did wrong and why they're doing so poorly.
But
right?
I don't
That's-
think she's incompetent. I
but
think she's
what I'm-
brilliantly competent.
So what I'm describing is how, sometimes like the most average American voter might see, like what's being blasted on the media is that back during Biden's run, she was super anti-fracking, right? Now she's like, yeah, no, I was never anti-fracking. I was always like, we're gonna look into it, and now, no, we're not gonna stop fracking in your state.
Yeah. No,
and so
that's a good
people
point.
describing her as
That's a good
wishy-washy,
point,
right?
And you know, in these campaigns, the other side has to make a lot of that. But
Optics
for me,
is everything.
Optics is everything, but it's not. It's really nothing. Optics is just the way you happen to be looking at it. That's the meaning of
So,
optics.
yes.
But the reality is that, you know, she's come against some dissension about fracking and her like policy on fracking with Biden. So she's adjusted. She's flexible. She is able to, you know, change
Well,
positions
see, that's
depending on, you know, the response from
you know
the people.
what's funny is that's a better way of messaging what she said than what the Democratic Party did. So what I'm trying
Well,
to just
Or
no, it
maybe-
is
maybe,
because
yeah.
because the way they messaged it was not that it's a signal of strength to be able to change your position depending
It's
on.
flexibility.
Yeah, they never said that. Okay, so we when it comes to polls, we're trying to essentially figure out the decision making of the most average American across the board. Like
Right.
someone who just goes to work every day, doesn't give a shit about politics, thinks like racist jokes might be funny or whatever, but aside from that, they don't really give a shit.
Well, yeah, you're up against the fact that a lot of people are just voting because they like the look of this person, like
Exactly. No, but so
from
from
the
that,
last photograph that they saw.
so within that context, I'm just saying, when it comes to like polls and stuff like that, optics is kind of the biggest deal. Like,
Yeah.
I get that you're discounting it, and I agree
Sure.
with you.
Yeah,
Optics
yeah.
is bullshit.
Yeah.
But in this game, that's
It's
kind of
everything.
the game. Yeah, exactly.
Per the administration that she's a part of, Joe Biden's approval rating sits at just 41%. And then there's this twist. Donald Trump, retrospectively, do you now approve of how he did as president? In our poll, 48%, almost half. give him
The
support.
retrospective must be higher than what it
higher
was
than the
at the
approval
end of his
ratings he was
term.
getting
But
when
they
he was
should be- they
president.
should be
It's really
showing
striking to see that.
his.
What
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
for.
Yeah.
An advantage there for Trump in some way.
I mean,
then there's this question
they
too,
really
just
are-
all the
I
stories, all
do
the
think
images
that-
from early voting.
I do think Kornaki's, like,
may-
obviously they're biased, but
This
like
may be enough on this particular clip.
it's
Like,
what's crazy is it's been 2 minutes. We can watch 60
Look at
seconds
this.
more and just like get finished.
2/3 of voters in our poll say they've either voted already or they're going to vote early. On election day, 1/3 of the electorate actually saying they will turn out and vote then. And you can see, we saw a bit of this in 2020, remember. The early vote here, more Harris friendly in our poll.
65%.
That election day vote, that's the big wild card. You don't know what that turnout will look like on election
Yeah.
day. But if Trump has an advantage there, see if
Oh,
it's enough to overcome.
but see,
what-
that is actually very interesting because this is one of the key things that, pardon me,
So we're talking about polling, right?
Yeah.
And like this is totally confusing. I mean, this
You're right.
is
So,
like,
well,
I'm lost.
No. So this is actually super important. This is why it's good to bring up because one of the major speculations right now is that so back again in the 2020 election, Trump was super being like, don't vote by mail, right? Because this is also during COVID when anyone could vote by mail, so it was
Right.
really easy. He was like, don't vote by mail. You have to do it like on the day of, and that ended up hindering their overall votes. So this time
More
around,
people voted Democrat or something. Yeah.
well, it's so easy. It's so much easier to vote by mail. So
Right.
more people were
More
just
people
voted.
Right.
This time around, Trump or the Republican Party in general
It's made
has
it very difficult. To,
no. They've been encouraging their base to vote by mail early to get an early vote in. So it shifts the dynamic somewhat in that we potentially might not see as much of a day one red wave in terms of votes. Like, yeah, so that could change a lot.
But he could potentially
Right.
lose in the early side. And then the gender gap. Again, we've talked about this throughout the campaign. We've talked about this for decades. Trump up 18 with men, Harris 16 with women. That is a 34-point
18.
gender
That means
gap
he's
by
18
about
points
10
above.
points. If this happens, this
Men
would be the
prefer,
biggest
men in general
gender gap
prefer
ever
Trump
recorded.
by plus
Stunning, and
18.
his lead with men bigger than her lead with women.
Also, it's
It's an
crazy
interesting,
that it's only plus
turnabout from, I
16
think, what
for
we've seen in the
Harris,
past in some
considering
cases here.
Trump's going
And
to
then you
take
can
away
just
their
take a look here.
abortion
These are
rights.
the
He's gonna
battleground states.
protect
We got some
them.
new polls
Yeah,
this
whether
morning.
they
whether they like it or
not.
not.
These are the averages. And look, the most lopsided, quote unquote, 1.9 points for Trump in Arizona. So razor tight in the razor thin in the battlegrounds.
Yeah,
Kristen.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news.
You got it, buddy. All right, so this was the
quick
Iowa.
question.
Yeah,
When are we on camera and when are we not?
we're always on camera.
We're always
So,
on camera.
yeah, so
Okay.
it's fine. We're just gonna cut
And
this
you're just
out.
going to cut
But-
these things.
Yeah, so the entire time, it's like this, basically.
Okay.
And when we have the video on full screen, it's gonna look like this, basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's kind of perfect because
Okay.
it's like right in my chest. It covers up all the tall area.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, so I'm going to edit it around afterwards so that this will be full screen sometimes for key moments. Then we can zoom in on like our faces, do like just
Right, right.
our reactions to
Yeah, yeah,
things.
yeah.
Like, I think this is going to be
Damn.
pretty this is going to work, I think.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of fun, actually. I'm having a blast.
Yeah. Oh, good.
All right, so this was this is the last polling thing we can look at because it's very nerdy and still very confusing. But I think that was actually kind of educational. I learned a lot there. This is, I believe, the Seltzer poll out of Iowa, which is kind of a huge boon for Kamala. And from what I understand,
It doesn't mention Iowa. It's talking about Arizona.
but the title of the video is about it.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
And Pennsylvania is supposedly the state that might determine the entire election, from what everyone's saying.
Yeah.
It comes
Why
as we're
not?
getting that striking new
Gotta
poll
love
out of
that.
Iowa. Dasha mentioned it. What can you tell us about that?
Wow, this has thrown the political world for a loop because neither party, go back here, neither party has been treating Iowa as a battleground at the presidential level. Remember, Donald Trump did incredibly well here in 16 and 20, won by more than 8
okay,
points.
so-
This would be, if this actually happened, Harris ahead by 3 over Trump in Iowa. That would be an 11-point shift for Harris.
It predicts a swing of
11
Iowa?
11 points. That's
In
a lot.
Iowa.
That's a
What
big
is the
number,
climate
isn't it?
in Iowa?
I believe because Iowa is traditionally a red state, right?
Yeah.
Thing that might be notable
Yeah, that
here
would
is
be huge.
you look
An
at where
11
Harris
point
is drawing
swing.
her support from in this Des Moines Register poll. Among women, 20-point advantage over Trump. This is particularly strong for her independent women
Oh, wow, it's
and
tighter for men
senior
there, I
women.
guess,
Trump
I'm
obviously doing
assuming.
better with men. But one thing to keep in mind in Iowa,
men are
abortion has
so-
been front and center there
Guy
with
moves
that new
around a
6-week
lot.
ban that went
He's
into
very
effect this
dynamic.
That gender
That's
gap
part of the
on
reason.
display
I should
yet
be
again.
doing
I mean, this is-
Fantastic
But,
stuff.
like,
We'll talk about it throughout the show.
He
Steve
doesn't
Kornacki,
give the
great
numbers
stuff.
before,
Thank you so much.
so it's
Thanks for
hard to-
watching. Stay up.
That I agree. I agree. I think he's been doing that, but I mean, this Steve Kornacki is the guy that like every white woman, every wine mom is like they're sitting on their
Loves
couch
him?
and yes,
Wants to marry him?
yeah.
Wants to be with
Well,
him?
he became like a micro celebrity during the last election
I have
cycle
to get my glasses.
because like he's not like it's like
He's a bit of a nerd, though, isn't
yes,
he?
he's very nerdy. That's the whole point, though. It's like, oh, you're the one guy during COVID when like everyone was desperate to get rid of Trump. It's like you're the one guy who's telling me this true information. I wonder if I don't even know if we should bring it up, but there's like some guy who did like a whole video where he was just like thirsting over Steve Kornacki.
Oh. You know, on the CBC, there's still a guy who does the news who, during COVID, he ended it with, "Good night, and take care of yourselves." And he's still doing it now. And it just sounds so, what?
Yeah.
And take care of yourselves. As if, you know, you could die the next day.
I
So
mean, technically you could.
you could. He could.
Okay, so we were talking earlier about how we both agree Trump is genuinely entertaining. As an entertainer, he's a showman. It's what he does, and clearly that is felt by a lot of voters. So I just
Yeah.
wanted to show you this. It also touches on what we were talking about earlier with the new Hispanic wave of voters for Trump or for conservatives.
All right.
This is the most insane thing ever. And it's so catchy. I hate it and I love it.
With your help, your devotion, and your drive, we are going to keep on fighting. And together, we will make
There's the- here, it
America
says-
great
yeah.
again.
I will what?
Sometimes. There we go. I will vote. I will vote for Donald Trump. Why doesn't this one have to translate?
Just give me a gun now.
Yeah.
Just put a bullet through my head.
It's messed up how catchy it is, though. and Trump reposted that. So, so let's take a dive into an
Everybody's
average
just
voting.
having fun, man.
Yeah.
You know, voting is fun, you know, and don't take it too seriously. Just get out there, dance a little bit, and vote for Trump. No problem.
It is, yeah, it is wild. It's like that. I guess they're cheering to be deported. It's kind of crazy.
Who cares about democracy, man? Fun here, democracy here. There's no competition, right?
I mean, yeah. When it comes to Americans, that's true. Like, everything comes down to like
How much fun is that, and how
but-
much money is in it for me?
how cheap are my jalapeno poppers going to be?
Yeah.
How expensive is the gas?
You're going to lower my taxes? What
Yeah.
you going to do for me? And like, fuck democracy. Like, take that. If that's what you need, all right, you take that. But what you going to give me?
Well, but that also goes back to, oh god, that makes me. It's what literally. It's how you're supposed to run an election. Is offer things to like your
You're supposed to offer
constituents.
real things.
Yes.
Not, you know, create fear, then the solution. You know, false fear and panic, then the solution. You know.
Exactly.
It's like Trump has never, ever delivered on anything that he. Where's the wall? Where's the wall?
I agree,
Yeah.
but at the same time, that's also the entire argument for why Kamala had such a bad campaign, because she's like, oh no, I'm gonna do the border wall actually, and it's like, wait, no, give me something that I want. It's like, oh well, if you want to start a small business, we'll give you $50,000 to help your startup. It's like, okay. What is the logic here? Like, is everyone in America going to eventually own their own small business, and then we take turns working at each other's businesses? Who's going to be the working class there?
Like, listen, nobody cares about the details, right? So, and
I
nobody
think some
wants to
people
know
do.
about the details. There's a few people, but that's not how elections are decided.
It's
Like,
vibes based mostly.
Policy
Optics.
is, you know, a brain killer for most people. They, you know, they just want to know
I don't. No.
the simple things, and they, as long as they're, well, I've lost my train of thought now because
Well, I just disagree that like I think the things that people can lock onto are the policies. That's why like the child tax care credit is like one of Kamala's most popular policies, right?
Right.
It's like if you give a voter
do you think that's what decides an election?
for a lot of people, yeah,
Or
100%.
is it the commercials? Is it the ads?
It's a wild mix of both, I think.
And
yeah.
the door to door, like
Yep.
telling people they're going to take away your guns.
That they're gonna force you. They're gonna not let you get abortions. On the other side, yeah, I mean, door knocking and being able to directly tell someone what the policies are, especially when most voters are so confused. I think that actually is
See,
an
'cause
underrated thing.
But I don't understand what anybody's confused about. That's my problem. Is like, where's the confusion? You got one guy who's a fascist, and he wants to completely take away, change what America has always stood for. The reason it was set up in the first place, the beacon of democracy in the world. And he's saying, we're going to take that away. Screw that. You know, I'm going to stack the Supreme Court, and I'm going to do I'm going to weaponize the Justice Department, and you know, and I'm going to give you a bit of a tax cut. You know, I'm going to give you.
He's not even
like,
gonna do
I'm going to
that,
kick
but-
out the immigrants the first day. He's going to be on the golf course the first day he's in office. He's not going to be kicking out immigrants because the economy would collapse.
So my answer would be that it goes back to what we were talking about earlier when we're talking about the most average voter, right? Someone who doesn't really watch the news ever. They might pay much more attention to the average celebrity than the news. and then uh, I was gonna make a semantics argument, but it's kind of irrelevant.
Right. Well, here's the thing for me is that what I don't understand in all of this is that I just vote for the person who cares about people. That's all I vote for. And they're going to make a couple of mistakes here and there, but the Democrats have always, Google it, have always been better for the economy. Always.
Well, of course.
Except
But
Trump
that's-
was the only exception a little bit because he spent $3 trillion fighting COVID. You know,
Yeah, right.
and
Which,
created an enormous, like, you know,
which is ironic because it's like, oh,
And
that's
that-
socialism, buddy. Well, oh, what a surprise that socialist policies help the economy.
and what did he want you to do to cure COVID? Inject bleach or something? Like-
Ivermectin.
Yeah,
Oh, well, he did talk about bleach as well.
yeah. You know, the man's crazy. So, to me, you've got a country who wants to elect a man who is insane, and power crazy,
Power crazy.
and is going to grab as much money as he can. He just wants at the till. He's going to take the White House, which you give him, and he's never going to give it back.
So,
And I just want the person who cares about people and will do the best they can, given the two choices.
so, on that note, I agree with you that Kamala might care about people more than Trump, but I don't think that caring about people is one of Kamala's strong suits. That actually is a perfect segue into the uncommitted versus undecided vote discussion, in that, like, she's literally she's said that she's not necessarily going to change policy from what Biden's policy is regarding the genocide. And if people are seeing, like, oh, she just doesn't care about children being bombed to death.
Well, of course she does. But what do you think Trump's going to do if he comes to power? He's going to give Israel every weapon they want.
So I agree with you there. Trump will be worse on Israel.
It's a choice between two people. You're not going to get the perfect, policy or candidate. But, if you want some kind of equity, you're not going to get it from Trump. He's just going to let Israel slaughter, like, whoever they want with as many weapons as
I
they
agree with
want.
you, and the vast majority of leftists would agree with that. That being said, now we're having a philosophical discussion about the nature of democracy. So, the liberals the Democrats have gotten very, very comfortable in this two-party system where it's like, oh, well, they're evil, so you have to vote for us. And that's not really how democracy is supposed to work. The way democracy is supposed to work is they're supposed to win the votes of their constituents. And by doing that, or to do that, they make offers. We were just talking about this, like, the way you win an election is by offering something that your constituents care about.
Well, you have a platform. It's called a platform, right?
Right. And so if
And a bunch of policies.
if the Democrat candidate is consistently refusing to offer one of the few things that you truly care about, then I do believe that there's an understandable. It's understandable to not to withhold your vote. They need to earn your vote.
I think
is the
it's
perspective.
stupid to withhold
I-
your vote.
I
It's
understand
absolute
that.
stupidity. It's like, oh, well, there should be another choice. Well, there isn't another choice. But if there was another choice, I would vote for them. There's not going to be another choice this time. Work at it for next time. But right now, if you say you care about this issue, then she's the one who's going to do the best job for you, and he's not. So take your pick.
So I agree. I always have, like, it's basically the status quo that you have to do lesser evil voting, right? Both candidates are dog shit and evil, but we got to vote for the one who's less evil.
Or to put
right?
it a different way, neither one is the perfect candidate for you. So, which is the less
That is another way to put it.
imperfect? You know,
So,
it's
but
the way we used to put it.
so that being said, while I do still inherently agree with lesser evil voting due to the current status of the structure, I don't think either of us would passionately make that argument to a Palestinian Canadian whose family just got bombed to death, and we, like, our government helped to pay for those bombs. Kamala's government is currently literally paying for the genocide, and so I would never. I'm sure you wouldn't either. Be like,
I would say
you
this-
have to vote for Kamala because.
No, I wouldn't say that. I'd say
Right.
take your pick. You have a choice of two. You know, which one is going to be better for you? You may not like what she's doing, but are you going to like what he's going to do more? Like, use your head. It's a simple thing. There's two choices. That's it.
I agree with you on the concept of lesser evil voting.
No, but I'm saying the Palestinian that you're discussing has to do the same thing. He's got two choices.
I don't think they have
right?
to do anything. It's
Well, then
understandable.
they don't
whatever.
vote, and they let Trump come to power, and then they say, and then they complain,
But from
and they say, "Oh,
it's
well,
understandable to always complain about America.
Kamala was
but-
like better
but-
than this."
But just from their perspective, I think it's perfectly understandable for them to see it as like, oh, well, if she wins, nothing's going to change. So I'm going to withhold my vote, and then hopefully next time they will change their course so that they can win my vote. It's obviously misguided, and
Well, look,
it's not going to work, I don't think. I don't.
There's-
I
there's
shouldn't even say
also-
misguided.
There's also the question that we talked about where they're like, look, there's certain things politicians cannot say at this point in time. For instance, I believe the Democrats want to threaten Israel with cutting their weapon supply, but they can't do it before an election. They would lose, like, they'd gain the Palestinian vote, but they'd lose the vast majority. It's politics.
They would
It's
lose
a
the Zionist
very,
vote, which
very
comes
complex.
with a lot of donors. I honestly, I don't understand. I don't know what the dynamics there are in particular. I am fairly certain that, like, she would gain more voters, but some of those voters might not be as high propensity voters, and then simultaneously she would probably lose a lot of donors. At the same time,
Well, enough said. I mean, it's complicated,
Yeah.
right? So once again, it comes down to you've got two choices. Make your pick. Stop belly aching,
I mean, just
and just decide between the two which one is, you know, more on your side than the other. You
okay,
know?
just to characterize this a little bit, you're very focused on just when Trump comes into power, democracy's gone. I was trying to have, like, just
Yeah,
a
well-
bit more of a nuanced discussion about
Okay,
like
because
just
I'm
the
leaving
particulars.
Canada when
No, you're-
if that happens, and there's a lot of people.
Well, if that happens,
With
and then
me on
Pierre
that.
Poilievre comes to
Yeah.
power, then you're
I'm
you're like,
gone.
fuck this.
Because, you know, it's not just here. It's happening
know.
around the world.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Fascism is on the rise.
Yeah, fascism is on the rise, and and democracy
Oh, that's
is
something I
on the
was gonna-
decline, and it's partially, I believe, wrapped up with technology, and it's much easier to control people and get a controlled message out there. It's much easier to put propaganda out there and get it rolling through the social networks. The liberals are always like trying to be considerate of people's feelings and whatnot.
And
they-
power structures, yeah.
And they bring pillows to a knife fight.
Yeah.
You know, and when they hear that it's a knife fight, they bring knives, but the other side's got guns. And, like, so they're easy to defeat. They are, because, you know, you can bring a hammer and smash their bloody heads in and take over. And that's what's happening at the moment. And no, democracy is weak. And if people don't stand up for it, it's over.
So, if so, I feel like we've spent a lot of time on the election, which is understandable. So we can skip over some of those things, but there is one thing that now I want to touch on just before we go into maybe some more fun stuff or whatever
Okay.
ideas that you had.
No, I'm not. I'm not looking at that
okay.
stuff for any particular reason.
So, I think you would agree with me, but I don't think we've talked about this yet. It's not it's not just about Democrats winning or Democrats always fighting with pillows against knives, which I totally agree they do. I think one of the major issues with this campaign has been that they want to win a specific way. They want to win in a way that establishes their modus operandi and a standardization of what should be expected.
who
Which is
is?
the Democrats. Because
I don't understand what that means, though.
what I mean by that is like they're not making any grand promises. They're refusing to capitulate to liberals. In fact, they're capitulating to the right wing and right wing policies, right? With the border, with like a lot of these, the way that Kamala's talking about these issues, right?
Well, maybe they are and maybe they're not. I mean, you're getting sort of deeper into policy again, but I think what's going on is the Democrats realize they're fighting for the country. And right now, the population's opinions is constantly on the move, right? And right now, they're being manipulated by a showman extraordinaire, like, Donald Trump.
Sure.
And so the border thing and all of this, they're having to fight fascism, the rise of fascism and the takeover of fascism in any way they can. And really, Democrats aren't very equipped for it. They're
Okay, but so do you? I feel like you agree with me on this that like a 2020 style policy or like campaign is more effective than this one because so like Kamala's campaign is basically like we're center of the road. We're still gonna be hard on border stuff, all this. We're just not gonna like ruin democracy. That's kind of being their messaging. Whereas in 2020, the messaging was off the charts. It was like we're actually like pro immigration. Like this border wall is evil. Like we're gonna give you more health care.
I
We're
think a
gonna
lot has
pull out of
changed in 4
Afghanistan.
years, and I think you probably agree. A lot has changed, and that campaign would not work again. The one
No,
that
I-
happened 4 years ago.
So I do think things have changed for. I think that Democrats became very comfortable with their situation, but
I don't think they became comfortable. I think everyone was amazed at just how much
Well-
ground Donald Trump took. His family left him. They all said, "You're crazy. Like, give it
some
up."
of them wasn't it
Well-
only like Tiffany Trump or whatever. Or
No, it was most of them. Like his daughter kind of quietly walked away, and like they were all thinking, okay, it's kind of over, And he
Right.
was out there on his own. There was one point in New York City where the press made a big thing of it. He was all alone, and it was like the end. And then suddenly there were some demonstrations for him, and people started rallying around. But the point is, it's a shock how well he has done since the election loss by breaking all the laws, by attacking Capitol Hill and getting away with it.
Well,
and
once
people
again-
love it and say, well done.
Once again, I think that goes directly back to his base of support bringing in new people due to nostalgia, but then also, on top of that, totally just lost my train of thought. So you were saying,
Well, it's just that he became a monster over the past 4 years that
okay.
had been vanquished.
This is
he had a term.
No, but this is where I was going. Is that was under the impression that like you would totally agree with this, which is that like a more effective campaign strategy is essentially going the opposite of Trump on every issue. Being like,
Oh yeah, no, we talked
like,
about that in terms of strategy for sure.
And like, especially, it's very disappointing seeing how
her strategy has been terrible.
Yeah, no, we definitely agree on that.
But because
okay, good,
she's been trying to explain policies, which is what I was saying. It's not.
No, but my point is that her policies that she's been trying to explain, her whole campaign is centered around winning over centrist Republicans. No matter how you look at her campaign, that's what that's the demographic they're going for with all of these policy decisions and the rhetoric that they've been making.
Right.
In fact, the one time she broke with Biden was when he called Trump supporters garbage, which we haven't talked about actually, but I thought that was like the one cool thing he's said in like years. And she was like, "Oh no, like I'm sure he was talking about just like the comedian or whatever." I'm clearly getting that wrong, but either way, it's like the one time she's broken with his policy, and so she's clearly capable of it. She could have.
Yeah, but he got. You're skipping over the fact that he got into trouble over that. You're talking about Biden. I mean, by the way he phrased it,
and then he tried to backtrack.
You know, the old man phrased it in the wrong way, and everybody.
I loved how he phrased it. It's funny.
Everybody piled on and said, "Oh, this is really going to destroy the entire election." And
because
everybody got hysterical.
Because just to get it clear, that's because people were equating it with Hillary Clinton's line of deplorables, right?
Yeah, but the equivalency itself was a false equivalency again, which is the Republicans are really good at that. The Republicans do not mind attacking falsely, like attacking where there's no reason to attack. They manufacture the reason to attack, and then they attack, and it covers the fact that really they're the ones usually guilty of it, you know, and.
I think.
And so the comparison with Hillary Clinton was just a dirty trick. It's a dirty trick. It's comparing her to someone who Trump trashed.
Like I would say like yes and no, but I think this also comes down to the fighting with pillows instead of knives thing, where it's like, I'm sorry. Why don't you stand by that statement? Because just go by logic, like. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. If you want to take away women's human rights, if you want to deport Hitler style hundreds of thousands of people, if you want to, like, murder trans people, if you want to, I could go on, but if you are into all of these insane policies that Trump has, I'm sorry, yes, you are a garbage person, and a politician should be able to say that with their fucking chest. Spit it out there. Get people to understand, and then you stand by the policies that you truly believe in. Not just be wishy-washy based on whatever. I think like moderate Republicans they actually like fracking.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
And I've often said, that Democrats need to be tougher, but. Democracy brings pillows to a knife fight. A knife, that's why Trump can win. Because I'll give you a specific example.
That's not about it, yeah.
Let me give you a specific example. You have to do everything through the courts. There is due process. Trump knows this.
I was going to say this,
and that's one way that you destroy democracy. You play them at their own game. You can't arrest someone unless you have massive amounts of evidence, And even though he's been found guilty of massive fraud in New York City,
his supporters give zero
we're
fucks.
not going to sentence you till after the election, at which time he will have the judge shot, you know, because he's not going to follow
Well, no, didn't
the
the Supreme
law.
Court say that like a president can't be charged anyway? So he's like really
His
banking on that.
Supreme Court
Yeah.
said that.
His
right?
Supreme Court, yeah,
So
exactly.
he's playing with and the news. You know, the news has been trashed now. The free press, there is no free press in America anymore.
It's like down
Because
to
Elon Musk is the free
Yeah.
press, you know, and
No, it's literally down to,
that's
like,
scoundrel.
it's
you
literally
know?
down to certain Twitch streamers, as far as I'm
Yeah,
concerned.
yeah, it's
Like,
down
you've
to
got,
a
like-
few people
You've got
standing.
like Hassan, the Majority Report, Central Committee.
And they will be
Are
shot
the-
when Trump comes to power. I mean, metaphorically. I mean, you know,
Well,
they will
maybe
be
not
arrested.
metaphorically.
They will be arrested and charged with other crimes, and their lives will be made miserable. And you know, they will behave like the Gestapo, which is
Oh,
not
yeah.
the way democrats and democracies work.
Well-
They don't have that ability.
I think like the one thing Hassan has going for him right now is that Trump probably doesn't know who he is. But like if he gets elected and then I mean JD Vance definitely knows who Hassan is. JD Vance is like obsessed with online shit. So like I would
And
see
he's a smoothie.
he's a
He's
creep.
a creepy smoothie. 'Cause
But I was
he's
just gonna say
lying all the time.
they're just gonna do
and
the
he
thing.
likes it.
They're just gonna do the thing where they're like, "Oh, he's a communist who hates America. Throw him in jail."
Yeah.
Which isn't that still a law that exists in America, or am I making that up?
Doesn't matter. They're going to make it up as they go along because in a democracy, it's whatever the judges say. And if all the judges are with Trump, they'll say whatever he wants. That's the way it works. So it's easy to dismantle a democracy because they bring pillows to a knife fight.
Yeah. I mean,
And that's what's going on.
no.
Let me just paint a quick image and then
okay.
respond to that. Like what you've got, imagine a street and you've got a bunch of people literally holding pillowcases or knives. Let's say they're holding knives. And on the other side, it's gangs of New York. On the other side, there's, you know, the Nazis, and they've got guns. And it's like that classic scene where, you know, the guy comes at him with a sword and does all these
And
warrior
just gets shot to
dervishes,
death.
and he just goes,
The Indiana
come on,
Jones shot.
Indiana
Yeah,
Jones. It's like, that's what it is. I don't have time for this shit. Bang, right?
Yeah.
I'm American. And
Well,
that's
I'm
what
fascist is what they would say, but yeah.
that's what is going on right now. Right now,
No,
before
well,
our very eyes, that's what this
To
election
complete
is about.
to complete the analogy, the voters would be like a swarm of people who will either go to join one side or the other. In this analogy,
Yeah, they're going to go with the winning side.
So,
a lot
but-
of people just go with the winning side.
but my point is specifically that it's not just that they're bringing pillows to a knife fight or a gunfight. It's the fact that one of the other major contributing factors is that they want to win in a centrist way. They like are
No.
like they are like yeah okay so in this
No,
to
it's
complete this
not.
analogy the group of pillow fighters and the group of knife fighters are both yelling towards this crowd to get them both on their sides. The pillow fighters are like,
That's the difference between us. That's why the liberal in the middle, me, you know, is like, oh, you know, there
You're
are
so not in
laws,
the
there are laws to be followed, and you
Right.
on the far left is thinking we could get a couple of snipers up there, and like, you know, take them off
Well,
one
okay.
by one, take them out.
I
Like,
would be
boom.
thinking that, but I don't see how that fits into the analogy.
No, probably doesn't.
It doesn't
But-
at all.
But left is more revolutionary, right? It's more out there.
Well, I would
it's ready to do more unconventional.
The reason for that, just so you're in the camera, but oh, that's good. But the reason for that is, I think, it comes down to how important these issues are to leftists. Like
To
it's
what?
to how important these issues are to leftists like myself.
Right.
Like it's like if there's an obscenely unfair power structure, yeah, fucking burn it to the ground. Whereas the liberal slash centrist ideology is it's better to maintain the status quo so that nothing is really disrupted.
Yeah,
And
but
part of that does come from, like, it's like, oh, I don't want my life to be disrupted. But then part of it also comes from the logic of, like, oh, well, disrupting things causes problems for everyone.
Yeah, but we've had this never-ending
Yeah.
discussion, and this is the never-ending
Which
discussion.
is kind
And-
of what
and-
we do every week.
But it's the central question, you know, and that is, like, ultimately, I mean, you're talking about America. It's very right-wing anyway. Anyone who has the vaguest, like, notion of left-wing is a commie
Yeah.
who can be thrown in jail, you know, and my argument has always been against the left wing is yes, but it's all theoretical. One day, like, you know, maybe you'll put all of this into practice somehow, but figure it out because it's never happened yet.
And this is where I always say that is insanely reductive, and there's never been a communist state, blah blah blah. But now I would counter by saying,
But you're out on a
no,
limb.
but hold on, because Bernie Sanders, okay, Bernie Sanders is a beautiful example of this, because while he's demonized constantly, or honestly, it's not constantly. That's what's interesting about it. He's demonized by, like, far right media often, but every now and then, both liberal media and right-wing media will treat him decently, and that's partially because even conservatives who live in his state love him.
He commands incredible respect.
He has so much respect, but part of that comes down to the fact that he's just been advocating to make people's lives better since he was, like, in college.
Yeah, but
And-
so has Kamala Harris. Like,
No, she hasn't. Her whole career was, like, arresting black people and, like, being a horrible cop. Like, she's not a good person. Whereas Bernie Sanders has always been a good person. In fact, more of my criticisms toward him come recently after he did a bit of a weird heel turn after October 7th.
October 7th?
Yeah. Like, he's always been
okay,
pro-Palestine,
okay.
but, like, that kind of fucked something up in his brain.
Yeah, that screwed
It-
up a lot of people.
yeah.
But look, yeah, I don't know if you want to get into the whole thing. the
Not on this
Israeli
episode.
thing.
No.
Because that's a
It's a
nest
lot.
of
It's a
vipers.
lot.
That's a kettle of fish. But the point is, like, you know, you may want to backtrack on just how bad a person Kamala Harris is, because you know, I don't see that person. I see a wonderful woman. But right now, we're comparing Kamala Harris to
Trump, which,
Trump.
yeah, it's not a competition in my mind either, obviously. I
and
agree.
that's all it is. It's a choice between two people. Like, you know.
I agree. I agree 100%. But we're talking about this also from the perspective of, like, us in Canada. We're fairly well-educated people. We have time off. Whereas, once again, I'm just gonna make that point. Like, we're looking at the decisions of the average day-to-day worker in America that's not doing off very well, and it's just like, oh, 4 years of misery. All right, fine, let's switch it up.
Yeah, but I don't
It's-
think it's going to be 4 years of misery. I think it's going to be
No, I mean-
the rest of time.
Well, that's the point. Is, like, both sides are barely
I think it's
different,
gonna
so
be
it's just
King
gonna
Trump.
constantly be.
King
Oh,
Trump is
that's
coming.
what you're saying.
Yeah, King Trump is coming, and he ain't ever going to give the White House back. He's just said yesterday that he shouldn't have given it back last time.
I mean, this could be. No, I know. So this could be a fun. I did see a clip today. Someone made a very funny, I guess, video edit. I could try to find it. It probably won't take too long, but it's literally like they just took, like, it's kind of like the music video I did for you a while ago, but they basically, it's very different. There's no music in it. They took like Hitler rallies and posted over it the like
Trump's voice.
a German translation of Trump's voice,
Right.
and it's literally just like Hitler. It's like,
Oh, of
we
course.
will do the biggest mass deportation in history.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
we lose, it will be a bloodbath. It's like well, it's literally things he said,
Yeah.
but it's just kind of wild seeing that.
In a way, Trump is either less dangerous or more dangerous because he has no ideology. I mean,
Hitler,
had this extreme ideology, but Trump has only
I-
one ideology, and that's to
Yeah.
fill his pockets.
Well, see, I
with
do-
as much money as he can.
I do think
as-
that will make him slightly less bad.
Well, yeah, but he
'cause
wants
Hitler
to
was
create
like-
as much misery as he can and get as much revenge as he can.
It's not even just that. It's also he wants to seem cool to the fascists in power, right? So like, if they're like,
dictators. He doesn't care about
Well,
fascist or
no,
communist.
no, but like,
or
but
whatever. He's like
the-
dictators.
people in power, people with power.
Yeah.
He admires power.
The power
So
thing,
like,
yeah.
even like the people.
I think he's only really comfortable with people who are powerful.
100%.
He
Yeah.
gets together with, I mean, it's a fantastic thing. Like, he gets together with Putin,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Putin can't stand him.
Yeah.
But Trump is really
He's
comfortable.
vibing. He's like, bro.
This is where I belong.
Yeah.
You know what? How about if I'll bring my country over and we'll put them together? How about that?
Honestly-
and Putin's going, what the hell is this guy talking about?
The more I think about it, I feel like that opening scene from the Apprentice movie is kind of, if that's all you're gonna watch from that movie, it's probably good enough. Like, it kind of sums
Which
up
was the opening thing.
where he's in the bar with that woman, and like she's attractive, but he's clear. All his attention is on the power players
on
in the
Roy
room.
Cohen. Yeah,
And he's describing us like, oh yes, this guy's, you have no idea, he owns half of Wall Street. Yes.
Well, that's
he's a
his
big.
relationship with Melania, right?
Exactly.
It's like, totally ignore her. Like, his focus is on where's the money, where's the power, where's the throne, where's the crown.
Well, and this goes back to something we were talking about earlier, which is like how rich people could be miserable or whatever. But at the same time, I do think that once you've spiraled into that addiction cycle, he's probably getting enough dopamine in his brain every time he does something that makes him happy.
That's his whole
that feels
life.
like a deal,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
I think
Whereas,
the
like, we
movie
get-
portrayed his home life
Pretty
exactly
accurately, yeah.
accurately as I imagine it. It's like, what's going on there? Nothing.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no relationship whatsoever, except they're both thinking about how much money are they making at the moment.
I got the impression from the direction that what's her name? His first wife, she like started to get disappointed with the lack of connection. I
Yeah.
don't know how true that is, but I could 100% see it as being true.
Yeah.
um,
Well, he was completely asexual, right?
well,
he
that's what I believe. I believe he's an asexual aromantic who
Yeah,
just
and he just
derives
plays
pleasure
the
from
jock
power.
sometimes around a woman and feels a bit here and feels a bit there.
Yeah.
But
It's like showing off your
Totally
trophy.
goes.
It's literally about showing off your trophy wife.
Yeah.
Right.
it's part of the power array. What about if he wins? What happens on day one?
So on day one, if Trump wins,
He kills the entire Democratic Party. They're all arrested.
I don't know how dramatic it's gonna be.
Well, he's going to go play golf first and think about it.
Probably.
He's going to enjoy the moment. Go play golf, and then he's going to have his lackeys, his thugs, or whatever, appointed, and he's going to say, "Go round up the Democratic Party."
I think, okay, if we're gonna talk extreme stuff like that, maybe he'll form a committee that are these committees already formed that'll go after in legal ways?
Yeah, he's
most
got his
legal
generals
ways?
lined up. He's going to bring the generals in.
I think, well, on Joe Rogan, he said that he was going to read like the presidential briefing day one, which apparently he didn't do last time
Yeah.
on the first day.
Yeah.
So he's gonna learn if there's new aliens or if we're still dealing with the old aliens.
Right.
That's the
and he
big
brought
thing.
all the conspiracy theorists in as well, so he'll bring those in.
I mean, he very
And he's going to get
Gee.
RFK Jr.
I was about to
in.
say he's already in.
And say, like, take over the health department, get rid of the public schools. They're all gone. We're going to turn them into condos.
So, the destruction of the education department. For me, it's easier to I would say predict the first 100 days,
Okay.
because day one, I think you're right. He'll probably just kick back and like enjoy the spectacle of
Right.
things.
Yeah.
That seems to be the kind of person he is.
Yeah.
100 days.
Kamala's going to be at the office, like, starting to, like, get the whole operation moving.
Okay. So with Kamala, oh God.
And well, she said that, right? Day one, she's going to be in there working for the people.
But what is that like? What does that translate to? Like,
Well, she's going to be doing good. I think it translates into something very positive. It's all right. I don't have to leave the North American continent. I don't have to, like, flee.
I mean, that's also kind of like, isn't that not dissimilar from what Biden said? And, pardon me, he didn't do much good. Like, I feel like the best thing he did was...
Didn't do a lot of bad, and he
was
did
great.
a lot for Medicare. He did a lot for.
I know.
A lot of things. Come on.
He pulled out of the the Iraq War.
It's unbelievable how little credit, like, the Democrats get for what they do. It really is.
See,
You-
I
you know that
disagree. I
Trump
disagree
is going to
because...
get rid of Medicare.
Okay, but see, from my perspective, what Biden did is simultaneously the bare minimum, and simultaneously he's technically one of the most progressive American presidents in history. But that is because American presidents are historically terrible with what they've done. Like, we got FDR. He was all right. And, like, even then, there was some horrible shit that he did, right? Like, I believe very racist stuff. Even though, simultaneously, he did, like, potentially the most progressive shit.
Yeah, but FDR had the Senate and the House behind him. There's a big difference, the way it works in America. If Trump comes to power, he is just going to do shit regardless of what the Senate and the House. He's going to claim emergency powers. He's going to do things that you've never.
Sure, and this goes back to how Democrats have too much respect for institutions, in my opinion.
Or perhaps just the right. I mean, if everybody followed the rules, but nobody does. Right?
Not really. Like, when you made the point about like FDR had everyone behind him, the Democrats could have done whatever they wanted. It's because they are current. So you might disagree with this, but based off of evidence that I've seen, it's very clear that Democrats are happy when there's a spoiler, because Democrats, I'm getting the impression that you genuinely think like Democrats want to do good things in general.
Yeah, I do, but maybe that's the difference between you
Yeah,
and me.
I
Like,
think-
we define good. I mean, like, they're into daycare. They're into the basic lives of ordinary people and improving them. It's not something you can wave a wand and just do a magic spell. But they do want to. One of the things one of her policies is to end price gouging.
That's her best policy. Yes, that's freaking
but that's
awesome.
For the United States, that is like a wild, like, antagonistic policy to capitalism. I mean, that is like, wait a minute, like, what is this dame talking about? Like, she's got fabulous policies, and
She's got two good policies.
and what are they?
That one and the child tax credit. The anti-price gouging is genuinely amazing. And it's funny trying to see or watching like liberals and Republicans alike try to be like, oh, you can't do price gouging. You have to have a free market. And it's like, you have no understanding of the economy.
Well,
Clearly.
you know what a free market is? Like right now, Loblaws is using a kind of dynamic pricing. If you understand
Dynamic
the supply
pricing.
and demand curve, then if you want to you choose the price that gives you the best product, the best profit, and then you look and you see, okay, so if we restrict supply to this amount, that's the price we'll get. So
Right, they're doing it on
it
purpose.
depends
yeah.
upon a lot of people not getting it. That's how it works.
You
And
know-
they're able to, with the computers now, calculate that price.
100%. But it goes directly to what we were talking about earlier about how society is built of oligopolies nowadays. And nowadays, like, what are they called? Like, basically backroom meetings are illegal,
Yeah.
where you agree on
Right,
on prices.
right.
But
when
nowadays,
you're an
you
oligopoly-
just agree on prices in public, basically.
They drove out the Loblaws and that oligopoly of supermarkets and food drove out the small grocer.
Yeah.
And we all helped them do it because
We only have
they
like
lowered
one
their prices.
here in Kensington. That's it.
Yeah, they
in
lowered their
Chinatown.
prices in order to do it.
Yep.
And then as
drive
soon
them out.
as they
bring it
went
back up.
they bust the small
It's the
boys.
classic model, same as what Uber did.
Yeah.
Maximize your market share,
Yeah.
and then you own it.
Yeah.
You own the market now.
Can you imagine the future model of dynamic pricing where you've got a chip in your head and they said, well, just how much do you need it? And the chip says, oh, they really.
How long
really need
on
it.
that? How long do you think it'll be until general people accept chips in their head?
It's not going to be a question of accepting it. It's going to be a question of if that's what you need to get a really good grade and to get into a good school, you've got to have it.
I think a better analogy would be modern day. You need a cell phone to be a part of society. If you have a job,
Yeah.
you need a cell phone.
Yeah.
That's how your job.
Exactly.
Right?
And you will
That's a
need
good-
to have the chip. And you may not be able to afford the chip, and that's why they talk about, like, there will be an advertising model where you're forced to watch certain ads in order to get a chip.
I mean, yeah.
You know, but here's another part of Harris's plan.
Okay.
That you skipped over. I was upset with protect Medicare. Okay, she's going to protect Medicare. Trump is going to wipe it out. They've been trying for the last 2 years to kill like aspects of Medicare. That's what the GOP is dedicated to,
Yeah.
destroying all Medicare. And then
Well,
they won't
all
stop
social
there.
programs.
All
Yeah.
social programs. They will wipe them all out, right? So, you can't tell me that Harris doesn't have a plan. She's going to protect Medicare, and Medicare is the front line against like all the other social programs.
Okay, so on that note, I still think that's by far the weakest of the three policies that we've agreed are great or good.
Oh, I am all for someone who says we're going to protect Medicare and improve
Okay,
it.
but
That's
see,
whoa.
See, I hear that
Incredible.
language and I take it a completely different way. Because we both agree that American Medicare, Obamacare, whatever you want to call it, is kind of dog shit. It's not great. It's
It's the best they could get through against
so far.
a house controlled by the GOP.
My point is protecting the half measures that exist is not a great policy, in my opinion. A great policy is expanding it
you
covering
watch,
dental, covering things that matter to these
absolutely.
voters,
But
right?
you watch her if the House went Democrat and the Senate went Democrat and she came in, then they would move on all these policies.
I think that's very optimistic, but
No, it's not.
this is
That's
also
what
where
they
we
stand
disagree.
for.
This is where we disagree. I believe that the liberals' main modus of operandi is to maintain the status quo and to try to just keep being able to get in power while simultaneously receiving donations from their donors. That's
Wow.
the way I see it. Yes, it's a bit pessimistic, but I
Wow,
think
you
that's how
cynical-
all politicians are.
I feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for you and all of you guys over on the left there, because
I wish I
I'm
could
supposed
feel
to be
any
the
other
lonely
way.
one. in
Oh,
the
we are the
middle.
lonely ones, okay? I don't want to hear this shit. We, like, until just, like, this, like, past year, anyone who's pro-Palestinian has been alienated and, like, gaslit, like, arrested by governments. I mean, still happening in Germany right
Well,
now.
the same with anyone who's Ukrainian. There are like evil things going on around the world.
No, but I'm describing like people here in Canada, people in America who are pro-Palestinian, whereas like if someone's pro-Ukrainian, no one's going to arrest you.
Well,
You know what
they
I'm
will
saying?
next week.
After Trump comes into power.
Yeah. It's going to take all the weapons that were headed for Ukraine and give them to Israel.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, naturally, that's what he's going to do.
Yeah, I don't. This is once again we keep hitting on subjects that we don't necessarily disagree on.
Oh, okay.
I guess philosophically speaking, you are less pessimistic about the general ideology of the average liberal politician.
I'm much less pessimistic because
Yeah.
you've only got two choices. Like if there was a
We go back
like,
to this
if
now.
there- yeah, because if there was an NDP in America
Yeah.
and they had any hope, I would be voting for them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is crazy because there are independent part in reality. Oh, he lives in reality, people. See?
Right? Reality. Everybody's losing their grip on reality, you know. So
Well, so I was gonna say, there's the Green Party. I forget if Jill Stein is the Green Party, but either way, she's like the one who's trying to collect all the leftist votes by being like staunchly pro-Palestinian, anti-Israel, etc. But I forget what it is now. There's some other shit, but she's just like, she's stupid. She's not a real person. Oh, I think her her VP choice of the Green Party came out as like super anti-trans, like with a video the other day.
oh yeah. Well,
It's like, what are you
the
doing?
Green Party just splits the left-wing vote. So
Yeah, no.
it's a
No
total
one,
waste of time.
especially in
NDP
America,
is green as well. So
I know. Here in Canada,
Yeah.
that's my argument. Like the
and the
Green Party
Liberals are
just
green.
takes away
so
from
how
that.
much green?
The Liberals aren't green. That's crazy.
Well, the Liberals are way more
Justin
green
Trudeau
than
is green.
They're way more green than the other side.
I don't disagree with you, but now again we're like, okay, but he's not. He's still gonna just build condos for rich people. So maybe we should.
Yeah, no, we're
vote
back
for the
at the
NDP,
same thing.
even
where
if they lose.
realistically
Lesser evil
speaking,
voting. Yes.
yeah, realistically, and this, I've had my fill of Trudeau as well. But like I say,
Yeah.
I voted for Trudeau originally because although he was an idiot,
Seemed like a
he-
good-hearted
he
idiot.
has his heart. in
I
the right
agree
place.
with you there.
And to me, again, in the States, you've got two choices. Take your pick. You know,
Even though Trudeau did blackface like multiple times for Halloween when he was younger.
well, so did a lot of people.
Right.
It was more acceptable in those days, and it's disgusting now.
Yeah.
And like times change, so like, and the Conservatives can make a lot out of that by wooing people with that horrible concept. But like the point is, it was a long time ago. and you've got to use your brain.
I don't disagree. I believe in rehabilitation and that everyone can like be a good person eventually, like even murderers. That's why like,
Even a liberal.
even a liberal. I think like everyone other than like clinical sociopaths should have the chance to rehabilitate.
You know what? I read an article the other day that said 1 in every 20 people is a sociopath.
It can't be that high, is it really?
Yeah. That means that, along the average block of residences, there's like 2 sociopaths. Yeah, no, this was a study that came out just a couple of days ago.
That's kind of
It's
terrifying. Oh my god.
Sociopathy is kind of vanilla these days.
Well,
And it doesn't surprise me because
well, also
the world's
culture
gone
makes
mad.
it more
The
allowed.
world is insane, and people are getting more. Look at Elon Musk.
So traditionally, sociopaths, though the way it works is like by the time they finish high school, they have usually learned to mimic, mask like human behavior, like imitate human behavior that replicates emotion, basically.
They look
And
okay.
I could see it being the case that now in this day, is the age of like extreme online, the rise in fascist beliefs being like every other day, you're seeing more and more people say crazy shit that would normally be relegated to just online in public to someone.
Yeah.
Like the Travis Kelce's brother thing the other day, where the guy was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, are you like your brother's an F word for dating Taylor Swift?" It's like, which is so funny in and of itself, obviously. But that's such an online comment. But
It's so insulting, and insults have become like almost acceptable.
But then these people go into public and suddenly they'll realize like, oh, wait, I'm a little out of
tone this down.
place
I've
here.
got to,
Yeah.
But people are avoiding public more and more. There's a lot of people don't go to bars to date to find to look for a partner anymore.
Convenience.
They do everything online, even though online doesn't work.
Yeah, it's so
They're
bad.
taking it because they panic if they go out in public.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things. It's like a risk factor. It's like, oh, I could go out and potentially waste the whole night, or I could just try to go out with some guy that already
Some
matches.
guy that doesn't look like his photo and is like 400 pounds more than he claims. And it never works out. From what I understand, it never works out. It's like and it's getting worse, not better. And it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. So it's an interesting. Again.
And once again, we
Reality.
disagree on the state of reality, I suppose. That being said, let's bring the election discussion to a close.
Yes.
With who do you think is going to win?
I think, well, it's 50-50, right?
It's as close to 50-50 as I think possible.
Yeah, which is close to giving me a heart attack. But I think Trump is going to take it. And I'll have to leave.
My pessimistic side also wants to say Trump.
Oh, your optimistic side is obviously.
No, it's not even optimism, just based off of like, I don't know, it's just when things seem bad, it feels like it's going to go that way. So like, it feels like it's going to go to Trump. But from some of the statistics that I've seen and everything considered, including how poorly Kamala's run her campaign and how insanely badly the end of Trump's campaign has gone, my bet would be that Kamala slightly edges him out for
It's
the victory.
basically just hope against fear. Democrats are hope, and like GOP is always stir up the fear, and like,
and I
that's
don't
what you do.
disagree
You're
with that.
hoping
I do
that
think it's
You're
reductive, but yeah.
hoping Kamala is going to win.
No, I
and
do.
so
I do
do
think,
I.
based off of what I said, like based off of like the early voter change and the fact that there might be a lack of a red wave,
There
the
seems
fact
to
of
have
this
been
this
a
Iowa
shift.
shift,
Yeah.
there's certain aspects.
Maybe there's been a shift, and that's
It's
giving
vi-
everyone hope.
Who knows?
On this
Honestly, who knows?
Yeah.
With some clips.
I got one for you.
Yeah.
Like, do you know who is the? Or did I already ask you this? Who is the richest chef celebrity in the world?
Oh yeah, you asked me and I forgot. Oh right, okay. And I said Gordon Ramsay,
Right.
and you said no, it's actually Elon Musk's brother.
Brother. Yeah.
Which, first of all, I did not even know this guy had a brother.
He's got a sister too with a crazy name. He's also got a bunch of like secondary moves.
So it's just like very clearly nepo brother shit, I guess,
don't.
right?
Well, no, he owns the kitchen, which is a huge like. I mentioned it yesterday, last night, to Andrew and the crowd at the bar, and a few of the women and a couple of
Had heard of
women.
it?
The kitchen. Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's weird because I haven't heard of that, but also I just didn't know that he had any
I think
siblings.
it's probably. I looked at other lists, and he's not in other lists. So different lists are different, and it's probably also possibly he's rich, and he's a chef.
Yeah, that's
He's
where
not-
my mind
he's
goes.
not rich because he's a chef.
Yes, it's like a passion project, you could
It's-
say.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
oh,
He bought a restaurant.
well, he got millions of dollars from his dad's slavery mine, his
Yeah.
slavery emerald mine in South Africa.
Are we still
which,
recording?
Yeah, which people
okay.
constantly forget about. It's so funny whenever I
Slavery
mention.
mine. I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, that's where, like, he's South African. His dad owned an emerald mine that was powered by slave labor. Whenever I mention that to like my coworkers or whatever, they're always shocked. It's so fun. I think okay. I genuinely get so much entertainment out of explaining to the average person how stupid Elon Musk is, because the average person thinks he's smart, and then I have
Well, everybody does. Yeah.
yeah, and then I just
He's rich. Rich
equals smart.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Richest man in the world.
But also he has successful companies, right? He's a CEO. CEOs are smart people.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, well, he bought PayPal and they fired him as CEO because he was doing such a bad job, right?
Right.
Like he wanted to change PayPal's name to X.
But how did he get Tesla?
He bought it as well from another person. And then the only way that he's been able to elevate the value of it is by lying to shareholders. It's like, oh, we're going to have like the Roadster, which still doesn't exist. It's a car that I think there were like 10 models made or something. He's like, now he's currently like, we're going to have robots. And he shows up on stage with a man dressed in a robot suit. And it's literally his whole game is being a snake oil salesman who tricks investors into thinking that he's giving them way better
But he
shit.
is putting satellites up into.
Oh, right. So like Starlink, where
and he is going to save
SpaceX.
two astronauts who are stranded.
right, which once
Because
again
Boeing screwed it all up.
which once again comes down to like him just going into like a meeting room and being like, okay, so like I want to do like this
Let's make a
high
satellite.
we're gonna make a satellite and we're gonna give internet to people and now
So
figure it out.
do that
Yes,
next,
yes,
please.
and then like it's just like a bunch of like researchers, engineers, and scientists like. Yes, sir.
Yeah, but the American capitalist world would say, yeah, but he did it. So
exactly. It's like it's this it's built into the system of capitalism that he is going to get inherited credit from the laborers who actually produce.
It's built into
the
American
genius.
capitalism
Yeah.
that Boeing can kill the CEOs can take up a policy that kills 360 people,
Pay a fine,
and then
you're good.
walk away with $60 million in their pocket, right? And cannot be charged. They were charged with fraud and found not guilty.
That's so
And
insane.
and fraud was proven absolutely, according to the American Greed episode.
I believe
They
it.
showed all the evidence. So all the
Just
evidence
based off
is
of
out
what
there.
I know, they're presenting themselves as the safest flight company in the world, while simultaneously behind the doors literally being like, no,
And no one will
don't do
touch
safety
them.
checks anymore.
No.
We're not doing that. It
We're
costs
not
too
doing it.
much.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
seems pretty on the nose. but-
Unbelievable. but there you go. That's American capitalism. So okay, we've done that.
Give me your nature
You wanna
bomb.
do-
We're gonna try
Oh,
this
okay.
section
I have a
out.
nature bomb.
Yeah.
A nature bomb. So the first interesting thing, nature bombs for me are like the human being comes up with thousands of ways to screw up nature, because it is never quite efficient enough. It's never convenient enough. It's like too muddy or too many flies or mosquitoes. It's dirty. So we gradually are sort of destroying it.
It's also
So-
kind of like how there's like tech companies that are trying to make a machine that can process CO2 better than a tree can. Where
Yeah.
it's like, bro, just plant more trees.
No, that would be nature. We don't want that. So today, in the last few days in Spain, there's been these massive floods. So
Right, yes,
that's
yes.
what's going on right now in Spain, right? And so there've been cars piled on top of each other, and because these rainstorms are happening all over the world, and it's like each time we go, oh look, there's another one. It's bigger than last time, and it's like, hello, right? And so there's all these cars piled up on each other. They've roads destroyed, communications lost, people have no water.
To clarify, certain areas that are warmer will be hit by this more often,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
just want to
Yeah,
make sure
it's a
that
catch.
we're safe here in Canada. I just want to be selfish for a second. Just kidding.
And so the king came, King Felipe came.
The King of
to-
Spain.
The King of Spain.
Beautiful
and
song.
his
I love
wife,
that
the
song.
Queen, came to survey the damage, and the crowds hurled eggs and mud at them because all there was mud everywhere,
Right.
and people were picking up like handfuls of mud and they got mud all over them, and they fled.
Are there clips of that?
I'm sure. Yes, there are. I saw one clip today. Yeah.
Wait, the king fled?
The king and the queen fled. Yeah. But they did.
That's so awesome.
I think they might be good-hearted people as far as
a
that
monarchy
goes.
can be, yeah.
Because they were, talking to ordinary people.
It's okay, so this is so funny because I'm gonna get a little nerdy here. Oda Sensei, the creator of One Piece, he does have this fascination with monarchies, and like every now and then there will be like a good king, but he just wasn't able to like he was being taken down by this bad guy, and that's why everyone hates him. And it's like okay, sure, if there's like a truly good king who loves his people, maybe it could work out kind of, but then simultaneously he's showing like bro, your castle could probably pay for like everything.
Well,
bro,
yeah.
you're
But
living
that's
in
always the case. But,
Yeah.
but the best form of government has always been known as benevolent
benevolent
dictatorship.
dictatorship. Well, no.
But the problem
That's
is
no, not the best, not the best.
Yeah.
The most efficient.
most efficient.
Most efficient does not equal best, though.
Well, that's
It would
that's
equal
true.
it would equal best if you were guaranteed that they were benevolent, right? Because
right. But a benevolent dictator is
I guess it implies
someone
that, yeah.
a dictator with a good heart, and the question is, can you find one? can you find one of those things anywhere?
Well,
So it's hard to find.
you know what's
Okay, we have another nature bomb is Guam, and this was
I didn't
announced-
even know about this until you mentioned it.
Guam is an American colony, right, in the South Pacific or something.
Okay.
And it happened this week. A bunch of people were having a barbecue, and they were barbecuing a pig, and they left to have a little chat and a couple of beers and whatnot. And when they came back, there was a huge tree snake wrapped around the pig, and it was taking bites out of it. And this referenced the fact that a bunch of years ago, a few decades ago, a snake arrived in an American ship and landed on the island, took over the island, infested the island. All the birds have disappeared. It was a place of incredible species of birds and whatnot. They're all gone, and that allowed the spiders to take over
Because
as
their number
well.
one predator was birds.
That's right.
Right.
And so now the island is infested with snakes and spiders. So don't vacation in Guam.
God, that's so. Okay, this seems like one of those situations where the government should be able to sue whoever brought these in. Was it one pregnant snake that just exploded?
Well, that's the theory. The only way the snake could have got there, it's an alien species, so
it was
must have
definitely
come. It didn't
yeah.
swim, so it came
But,
by
did
some
they-
boat. But they
my-
don't know which boat it came on.
Okay, but was it okay, maybe this is me doing semantics again, but was it one pregnant snake, or did they probably came in with a shipment of male and female snakes or something?
Yeah, I don't know who they mated with, or whether maybe there were several snakes.
There
or
had to have been, is my guess. Yeah.
That's some detail, because they had to mate. That's the way
Yeah.
it works, right?
Well, you would be surprised. A lot of the animal
Yeah.
kingdom engages.
Well, they're not
in,
like worms. You can't cut them in half and get two.
No, but not just a
snakes.
lot of the animal certain species of bees, will literally if they. Okay, wait. How does it work? If a female queen, basically, she can mate with her children. Incest is very common in the animal kingdom, due to
In the
necessity.
human kingdom too, from what I hear.
Particularly the Republic or the Conservative Kingdom.
In Kentucky
one would say.
or whatever. But yeah. Sorry about that. We're going to
Yeah.
cut that part out.
No, but yeah. So invasive species. This is invasive species. Environmental turmoil. I don't know how else to describe it, but the increasing rates of hurricanes, floodings, due to a raising global temperature, as well as other factors.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
and then obviously the repercussions of this are going to be what do they call it?
More technology.
In the Western society, that's the answer.
We're going to deal with it. Don't worry. We're going to get storm preventers. We're going to put up.
No, but
all
only in the
these,
rich areas. Only in the rich neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Okay? Fuck the poor.
Rosedale is going to be completely stormless.
We're gonna have water pumps that will
Yeah.
pump the water right directly into the poor neighborhoods.
Gigantic
okay?
funnels that will suck the water out and
It's a-
spew it down into Kensington Market.
Yeah, it's a double-sided solution, right?
It's going to go like that.
We'll take care of the people we care about, and we'll fuck over the communities that don't deserve to be here.
As per usual. Yeah.
Yeah.
Businesses.
No, so I was talking about it's not economic terrorism. I guess it technically is, but economic
Otherwise known as
immigration.
economics.
Or no, not economic. Environmental immigration. No, I know there's a better term for it. I'm gapping on it right now. Basically, it's like economic environmental turmoil causes you to emigrate, and like we're gonna be seeing a lot more of this
Of emigration.
going forward. Well,
Away from
entire
sinking-
areas that are
sinking
getting sunk
Yeah,
into the water.
or pounded.
And then America is gonna be like, oh no, we can't have it. We hate immigrants, and it's like, brother, your country is causing so much pollution. You can't just be like, oh, we're gonna destroy your country. And
Well, the comic end of it is that everyone has moved to Florida and Texas and Arizona. They're all going to be moving back again because,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, reverse immigration.
reverse
yeah,
immigration.
yeah.
It's like, the beach is not as good as we thought. Get back to New York.
I mean, one
City.
of my favorite memes is like it's like Ben Shapiro talking about Florida beachside property, and it's like how it's only gonna like get like increase in value, and then it stitches to someone else, and like, who are you gonna sell it to, Ben? Aquaman?
Yeah.
Because it's like, bro, that whole place is gonna be underwater in like 20 years. Like that's crazy.
Malibu Beach today, the snake, nature bombs. Nature bombs are all around us, exploding every day.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately,
And we just take it for granted, right?
100%. But I was just gonna say, unfortunately, neither of the candidates who could potentially win have talked really about fixing that aspect of the world.
No, they've got to fend off.
So
They're dealing with Boeing and Ford and GM and you know,
fascism and Nazism
Lockheed
and
Martin,
Israel
and,
and
Elon
but-
Musk will take care of all of that, though.
Oh yeah. Well, I think his plan is to just abandon Earth when it gets used up and
Yeah.
just go to Mars.
Yeah, because
right?
he's got a rocket.
He's got a rocket. That's right.
So don't worry about global warming. It's not a problem. We're just going to go to another planet.
I mean, it's literally the ending of Don't Look Up. Like, that
Yeah,
movie
really,
was...
Don't look up, yeah.
I hate to say it. A lot of people thought that movie might have been, like, oh, so on the nose or a little cringe when it came out. The longer time goes by, the more that just seems like the obvious outcome
I
of
thought it was
society.
fabulous, that movie.
I agree.
I thought it was absolutely dead on. It was
Yeah.
like,
Down to the last
blew me
note.
away.
Like, it
Yeah.
was so on the nose.
and the response was exactly what would be predicted from the movie theme, which was, don't look at it.
Yeah. No, so accurate.
Don't look at that movie. It's going to upset you.
Okay, so to end off this first episode, I am going to, on that note, list off some of the more depressing things, like the 4 or 5 ways that human society will go extinct. Number 1, nuclear fallout. Number 2, I guess I'm going in likelihood. So number 2 would be environmental disaster, like global warming, essentially. Sea levels rise, hurricanes become uncontrollable.
Number 3 would have been obesity, but now they've solved that.
Yeah, we have Ozempic now, so that's not an issue.
It's not a problem.
Number 3 would be like a. I guess nuclear fallout is World War. Wait, no.
Online dating.
No, I was gonna say, no. AI is one of them, but I think AI might be 4th. I'm gapping on what the 3rd one is.
What, AI is probably number 1, isn't it?
No, I think it's more likely that we die of nuclear
I think
war.
it's shooting up the list.
Yeah, but okay, so do you think AI
AI
do you think
enable nuclear war.
do you think AI killing us is going to happen before nuclear war or global warming?
I think AI will enable nuclear war.
I mean, okay, but that's just the
Because
plot.
it
That's
will
the plot of
figure out-
Terminator.
It will figure out when we need to strike before they do.
That's literally the plot of Terminator, except their reasoning in Terminator is like, humans are just bad or whatever.
Yeah. That's wrong.
No.
I'm not sure.
All right. Well, I'm gapping on the fourth reason that we might go extinct. That being said,
Global warming, global environmental
that was the third one.
collapse. Okay.
AI, nuclear fallout, global warming.
Trump coming to power.
That's kind of nuclear fallout, in my opinion.
Okay.
I'll remember it next time. That being said, hopefully none of that happens before next week so we can record another episode of this. We're still getting used to this format. It should be a little bit smoother next week, but it was a blast to record. And like I said before, we just do this anyway. We just get together for beers anyway and talk all this craziness because I think, for me at least, it gives me a sense of where I exist within the context of the world. It gives me a bit of a sense of comfort, even if that comfort comes from knowing, oh yeah, I could die of nuclear blast anytime. That being said,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye.